What is up, subscribers? Today is the day that we do some hood quick lift dampeners, I guess you would say. And we're going to do some hood pins installation also as well. So, yeah, we're going to put it on this WRX wagon that everybody's been watching me build. And it's been sitting for quite a while. I'm ready to start doing some mods to this thing now because we actually got the engine done. And if you haven't got to see that, then go back to my channel, check out the engine. It's super duper pretty right now. And it's ready to be dropped in, but I can't drop it in until I get the harness swapped on this. The harness on this has got some discrepancies, so we're going to go ahead and swap that out. I've already locked in another harness, so I'm going to go get that probably Monday next week or so, which is great, you know, because it's already close to the weekend. So I'm going to plan that out, bring a bunch of tools up there, go pull it out of an actual parts car myself, because I've been screwed on about 2 or 3 freaking harnesses already. You know, 2 harnesses that I ordered and bought, and then you got to see on my last upload that I bought a parts car, and that right there on my own self was just me just slapping my pee-pee because I'm dumb and I made a mistake and I got to learn my lesson. So I know that automatic harnesses are not going to work for a manual car. Hey, live and learn. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and start this day with some hood pins. All right, so I pretty much tore into these things. I just wanted to make sure that all the hardware, is basically here. I want to make sure everything is here. He went ahead and dropped this off so it can be ready to be drilled out, and we'll go ahead and do the placement, which is really nice. And you want to get a general idea of what we are going to install. Everybody knows the center exit exhaust build that I am working on. It has the exact same hood pins. So we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how these work. You just push the button. Pretty simple, you know, and they line right up. The stud itself, you can see, actually goes in through that hole and it locks it in. So we're going to go ahead and lift this up here. And it also has the quick lift dampeners. So these are your hood quick lifts. So if anyone says, do you have a hood quick lifts? That is the idea or direction that they are talking about. This is the part. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do one of these installations today. It looks like it's basically the same kit, same bracket style, same geometry. It looks like the same mounting process. And that's basically what's going to happen. Nobody likes the hood, you know, the hood latch. The hood latch sucks. It's usually in the way anyways. This makes things a lot easier, brings the hood up nice and proper, makes things easy, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over here. We're going to replicate the same concept over here. It's a common mod that's actually done to these cars. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. So as you can see, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to remove that rubber right out of the leveling positions for your hood. There's actually a rubber grommet that twists in and out, and that actually adjusts the level of the hood from up and down. So that's what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and lift this up. And as you can see, they are already missing in this car. Everybody knows that there's been a lot of things missing on this car, and it has been sitting for a very long time. And because of that, we have been going through it and addressing as many things as possible as they arise. But for now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the little bit of modifications in between so that we can basically kill a little bit of time up until we get to the stripping of the actual harness itself. You know, and here you can see that the owner of this car actually got into it. He was trying to fix it. There's a lot of butt connectors and whatnot. And he warned me that there was some issues and discrepancies that he was having. So because of that, I recommended we go ahead and do the entire swap of harness because I'm not messing with that at all. He said, okay, we agreed on, some labor and some parts and whatnot to do the swap. I'm paying for the harness out of my pocket so that I can get the parts for the Legacy, etc. I haven't shown any of the parts that came with that. It's basically just like a downpipe and a catback and whatnot. I believe it's the Q300 exhaust system for that car. There's no motor in that car, but it's blown up. It's already been taken out. The engine that is going into this was in that Legacy. I had to pull that out also as well, along with the transmission, etc., in order to just be able to acclimated over to this car. But again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, check it out, follow that build, watch that build. This car has been sitting for a very long time, and it's very entertaining to see how far it's come. So right now, let's go ahead. Let's do some fabrication time. We'll do some drilling. Right now, we're mainly just gonna have to line up some hood pins right now. The general concept of sticking it up and through and marking it with a paint marker is basically how easy it is. We're going to stick this threaded rod up and through that hole where that bushing is missing, shut the hood, mark where this hits the hood. It's just that simple. We drill a freaking hole. So we drill the hole as it comes up and through. And then as it's sitting on top of the hood and it's piercing up and through, we simply put our template up on top. Now, this is actually not a template. This is the bottom backer that goes underneath that actually attaches. So I'll give you an idea. You're going to see here how much is going to be cut. That is your backer piece right here. You can see the backer. So the actual sandwich in between the hood. This backer is actually what's going to hold it to the hood itself. So from here on out, this is where we do the tracing and the alignment of the actual hood pin setup itself. So that's, it's pretty simple, guys. I mean, it's a place and trace setup. You're just basically going to line everything up as best as possible, drill your holes, and put it in place. It's pretty simplistic. So I'll go ahead and show you. Simplistic concept, yes, but understand that you are going to have to cut 2 big freaking holes in your hood in order to put these in there, in order for them to be flush mount. So understand that once you cut this, you better make sure you got it right. So double check, double check, double check. Like everybody says, measure twice, cut once. That's for real. I promise you, we ain't lying to you. So before we get into cutting and drilling of anything right now, let's make it easy for the hood to go up and down. So in this instance, there is no hood latch for this car. Again, it's another item that is missing. So we're going to go ahead and do these dampeners right quick. We're going to do these first. We're going to get these mounted so that I can move this steel hood up and down a lot easier and basically manipulate this job for myself to be easier for myself. Work smarter, not harder. Okay, so going through this kit, I just realized that we're missing a bracket here. There are 3 brackets, and there should be 4. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So we're going to go ahead and do the unmanly thing, and we're going to look at directions and make sure that I'm supposed to have 4. All right, so my conclusion is we are missing the one freaking bracket that I need, of course. So the 02 to 05 fitment, which is here. That's the one that's supposed to be on the hood, which you can see here for placement, which snaps on the outside, but these have got these on the inside. So the 2 matching are the ones that I don't even need, which are probably the ones that go on the inside of the fenders to connect to the bottom section. And it looks like they are. Yep, so we're missing the hood. One of these. Yay, how the hell am I going to figure this out now? Now you understand what I've been going through with this car. I am so tired of this. Like, what? Why is there so many things missing on this thing? Why is there so many things that are wrong with this thing? It's killing me. I'm motivated. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to make an upload for my channel. I'm ready, but I can't even, I could do half the job now for that quick lift kit. Is that going to lift the hood with 1 dampener? Probably not. Well, oh well, let's run with it. So let's see if 1 will hold. Either way, they got to get installed, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get it installed. I'm going to see if I can get this up on the hood. It looks like it's a drill and rivet kit versus the other kit that I just showed you over on that car. It actually bolts to the actual hood latch, or excuse me, hood hinge. So I'll show you. It's just a little bit different. You can see how it actually bolts on there versus this kit wants you to rivet. So we're gonna have to do some drilling on the hood. Let me show you real quick. You can see all the rivets and, you know, the rivet gun, etc., etc. It wants you to drill. I really don't like that concept, but this is the kit that he has, and this is what he wants me to install. And again, this was part of the agreement that I would put this on for him. So let's not dilly-dally. Let's do it.
All right, so I'll grab my pogo. In case anybody doesn't know what a pogo is, I call it a pogo. It's an adjustable rod that's actually for hoods that don't have the hood latch. Generally came from a collision field, paint and body and whatnot. So I used to tear cars apart all the time. Today I just specialize in just Subaru. So today, just real quick, actually, I might as well do it. Give you guys part number. There's Blue Point. Blue Point is Snap-on. YA4590A. That's part number for this if you guys are looking for it. And then real quick, all of this extends out. They actually got 3 levels. There's one rod in the center, and then etc. And then they have the quick release that unlocks it, you know, and so you can actually feed it back into itself just by pulling that up and etc. So we're gonna go ahead and extend this hood right up. Okay, so I grabbed the brackets. I'm going to go ahead and snap them into placement on the actual quick lift dampeners. The dampener itself, the actual shock itself, that's the up portion. You want that to eject in. So this will be the bottom where you attach to the fender itself, and the top is where the hood is. Pretty simplistic. So we're going to go ahead, we'll clock all this exactly the way it would be on the hood and on the fender to make it easier for lining everything up. Then we're going to go over here. Basically, pretty simple. It is a place and trace kit. Now we're just going to place it, dot all of our holes for where we're going to do the drilling. Drill the holes, rivet in place. Pretty easy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So this is the measurements that they are giving and what we will go off of. It's asking us to measure from the corner of the hood, mark in 8 inches and 3/4. That's where we will put the tape marker, because that's where the bracket for the bottom on the fender will mate. And then we want us to measure all the way up to 23¼ inches so that when the hood actually comes up, that's where the mating will be. So on the other side of this mark, that's where you'll put the bracket on the inside of the hood. Pretty easy peasy. Too easy. All right, so I've got the dots all marked. You can see the little green dots here, and then up on the hood also as well. So I'm not a big fan, as I've already stated, of this design. Surely just main fact that this fender sits on the fender mating surface, which is directly flat underneath those 2 holes that I'm going to drill. And you can see over here, without a fender on here, how it sits. You know, this is the sill itself. So with that fender sitting on there, I'm going to probably drill into the body of the vehicle. So I have to lift the fender off in order to actually do the drilling of this fender so that I don't drill into the body itself. Now also notice that I'm also going to need a very short rivet head. So the rivets I was going to use, I think, are probably going to be too long now, because that fender is going to have to sit on that rivet. So yes, this will shrink up and pull into itself, but only about half of it. So half of that is going to be curled up underneath that fender. So you want to make sure you have tiny
little rivets that aren't long. So hopefully I've got something, and I'm gonna cross my fingers while I look, or I'm gonna have to go to the store real quick and get what I need, because they're gonna have to be very shallow, not deep at all, because we don't want that fender to be sitting up on or resting on that rivet itself. So poor design. Yeah, I mean, you see how the other one is mounted, and which how it should be, and the fender sitting on the inside of that, but I didn't make this kit. Okay, I found some shorter ones. That may be too shallow. Oh, actually, no, that's money. That actually might work, especially if I put a washer on the backside. Let it, oh no, I don't know. I probably better not do that because it might shrink up and still be deeper than I want it to be. Well, let's hope and pray, right? All right, so I actually just realized that those two markings on the fender are going to be incorrect. I'm going to have to put this back where it should be. I just realized that the hardware is not in this fender. It is just sitting on here. So my bad. Gonna have to go ahead and set the dampener back on there and make sure I get the proper placement, because it's not going to be right. So again, make sure you measure twice, drill once. Same thing for cutting, anything of that instance. You know, if you're going to get into any kind of steel fabrication and you don't want to have to re-weld that hole back up, open your eyes. Okay, so after I went ahead and I sunk in some hardware, got everything all panel gapped the way I wanted to after I shut the hood. Make sure you do get your panel gap. Make sure it's exactly where you want it to be. And then you can go ahead and drill those holes. I've got the holes drilled. Put the fender back on. Now I am ready to do some riveting. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do some mounting. Make sure you test your rivets, make sure that they actually fit in the head of the rivet gun itself. And then, yeah, basically just start throwing them and sinking them. For now, I'm just gonna basically just set them in the holes. I'm not going to stretch the rivet or pull the rivet right now. Mainly for the sheer fact that I just want to make sure I have proper alignment. So once I make sure that I do have proper alignment, then I will start drawing the center and tightening the rivets. All right, looks like everything lines right up. We've got all the pins in, all the rivets in. And now I'm going to make sure that they are all flush. Everything is flush, and then I can generally start going through. Normally, you can usually sink them in and start drawing them and whatnot. But in this instance, I wanted to make sure that everything lines up first and looks good. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling some studs. Make sure you are pushing in while doing so. The reason why you push in is to make sure that it is seated flat. Well, now is the moment of truth. Will one dampener hold the hood up? Absolutely not. So we're gonna have to make a bracket or locate a bracket so that I can finish the other side. But everything seems to fit correct. All alignment, doesn't seem to be any stress or added stress on it, but I was hoping
But that didn't work out for me. Well, whatever. So let's go ahead. Let's acclimate our energy to some hood pins now. We'll get these on. Right? Stay a little positive for today, instead of going negative on this, which normally this car makes me. But hey, we're not going to do that today. We're going to stay headstrong. We're going to get it done. Wow, look at that. So easy. First things first, let's get this bag open. Let's make sure all of the hardware is here. Especially those little nuts, little bolts. Make sure it's all ready to go. So I'll go around, we'll count how many I'm supposed to need. Looks like 6, 12. 12? Well, I sure don't look like there's 12 there. I'm really hoping there's 12. Okay, and short answer, it's all here. Okay, so far I've just inserted all of the nuts into the actual backer themselves. A lot of them were pretty tight, so I ended up having to tap them into place. And now it's time to move on to the actual alignment stud, or the hood pin. So we're going to go ahead and... That was easy. And then, yep. And yep. I'm going to come over here. And throw a washer on this, throw a nut on it, tighten it right up, and then we'll be able to have this in the placement that we want so that we can shut the hood down on it. And you can already tell generally where it's going to be. Okay, got that one locked down as well as the other. So we're going to go ahead and pull this prop rod out of here. Bear with me. I'll lower this hood down. And you can see that it actually does not sit on there. So, and the other side, it's just behind it. So thinking that it was going to fit in there, no. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark the area that needs to be drilled out, as well as the other. So once I lifted the hood up, I've got here the center point, drilled out a 1/8 inch hole. Same thing on the other side, so I can center, a general idea of where the stud is going to stick through. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to a step bit drill. This is a step bit. You're able to step it out in a larger diameter at a fast rate. They cut very quickly, but they need that 1/8 inch hole to get it started. So I'm going to go ahead and, drill some holes. Okay. Drilled up and through. Drilled up and through. So let's go ahead and do a test fitment and see where the actual head of these pins is going to sit. Let's see if I did this right. And with the hood shut. Ooh. Ooh. Man. Almost like I knew what I was doing. Okay, so now we are at that opportune time to start placing this on here. Now, how do you get it lined up and perfect and cut it out, because you only have so much room for this backer or this shelf here to put hardware on? You can see that you can't, it's got to be pretty tight. It's got to be pretty damn close to being on point, because you got that backer that sits on the backside that's going to sandwich this piece on there, and you want to be able to have enough surface steel
for this to sit on. So really, in all reality, you want to make sure this thing doesn't go on like this or like this. You want to make sure that they're both uniform and it lines up. Same with the other side. So how do you do that? I mean, this thing is raised up off of the hood. You know, I mean, yes, essentially you could trace around this and go off that, you know, and really you could do it by eye. I mean, yes, these are designed just for race cars and it's not aesthetically supposed to be perfect, but yeah, that's just not going to work for me. So I'm going to make sure that we're going to grab the tape measure because the tape measure doesn't lie. And we're going to grab my other friend here because he doesn't lie to me either. Tape. We're going to use those guys and we're going to measure off of the pinpoints from this edge to the inside edge here. And we're going to make sure that they have the exact same pinpoints and placement so that we can come over here and replicate the same. It's pretty easy to place it, trace it, cut it out. That's kind of how I have my tub kits designed. With the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. It's pretty simple. Place it, trace it, cut out what you don't need, throw on your new part. Well, in this instance, they've actually got templates, so this is awesome. This is going to work out. So I'll be able to mark up the crosshair. I'll be able to get it uniform and nice. We will tape this on there, and we will get it perfect. Okay, so now we got everything on there. You can see the crosshairs, how everything lines up. Tape measure doesn't lie. You can see 3 inches right there on the bottom crosshair, as well as the other. You can see that everything goes through the pin, and your crosshairs line up with the center. Same thing with over here as well. Make sure everything lines up. And of course, double check your measurements. Make sure that you are on point with your measurements. Because you're going to have that one guy who's going to critique you, and he's going to look at it and go, man, you fucked up. All right, so once traced, we can lift this up. God, give it to me. I had a little bit of leaking problem, but you get the general idea. Boom, boom. Okay, so there's 2 methods that you can go about doing this. Now, you can take a drill bit, drill out a little section here with a hole, and then start running an actual saw bit throughout, you know, like a little mini air saw. And you can cut it out and trim it out that way. Another way of doing it is finding the center point here for this circle and the center point here for this circle. And you can hole saw here, and literally just cut the last remaining section. That would be here in the middle. And that's basically 2 ways of doing so. I mean, there's really doesn't even matter. You can go through it and just notch it here on the straight lines itself with a cutoff wheel. And then you can go around with a jigsaw or mini saw and whatnot, whatever you prefer. I mean, so really in all reality, let's cut a freaking hole. Bet you can't guess how I'm gonna do it. No, I'm just kidding. So, long story short, grab that hole saw. You know, find that center point. Cut that out. It makes it so much easier just to be able to do this. That was really quick versus I probably would have had it a little bit more mangled if I had used a saw or some kind of different cutting utensil. But yeah, throw that right away. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the other side. We'll get that mocked up. I'm going to continue to cut everything out, and then I'll be able to show you what it looks like. Okay, so now made it easy for myself. Just labor intensive, guys. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get it done right. I'm probably about the 2 hour mark now between the actual lift kit for the hood dampener over there, getting that all lined up and whatnot, and then getting it to this point here, getting ready to cut that out. And then we'll be able to start slipping these in here. You know, we'll mark some holes for the hardware. We will drill those holes right out. Look at that, already looks like it wants to fall in place. I like it. So we'll cut that out. We'll see how well it fits. All right, well, it is time to end the upload. It's got to end sometime, right? Well, I'd say it looks pretty good. They're really clean looking. I like these things. They're really functional. I've got it adjusted to where everything's nice and flush. You can just snap it right into place, and she's got that race car appeal. So with that said, it's got to end. So I'm Bill Schneider. It's Rumble Garage. Work on only cars with the stars. Subaru only. Duh.